Because usually we make films that we as a filmmaker, we beg you not to leave. Please don't leave. You want to leave? Here is a little dopamine. Here is a little dopamine, right? I wanted to go against it. So the first half of the film, I give the audience something that is familiar to them. Oh, I know this movie. This is a social realist, drama, family. I know this film. Halfway through, when I pull the rug, I'm like, no, you didn't. Now you want to watch it? You fight back to get in. And that kind of works as a Brechtian moment. Now you've been awakened that, oh, this is a movie I'm watching, and now it's my choice to go back. Now you're thinking.
I believe I read that you spent many years working on this script. And I know that it's somewhat autobiographical in some ways. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what started it, what kicked off the spark in your mind, and when you kind of maybe it clicked, like what the story was how it was going to work a little bit?
The story was about two friends who meet in a garden. And I got bored with the book. I never finished it even. And as I was writing about these two friends, I realized that they could be the same person. And this is a man who is negotiating with himself. And then I was in a dark place in my life as well. I was dealing with a lot of family traumas, and I realized that my sister are coming to the story, my dad is coming to the story, my mom is coming to the story, and I was asking, can I show this? And that was the hardest decision I had to make. Can I actually reveal that much about myself? In the past, I had written always looking forward. It was me and a bunch of white papers. I had to find my way through it. But now I was writing looking backward. It was something I had gone through it. Now I had to experiment with those narratives and to see how I can put it in a cohesive piece that makes sense on this silver screen. So in that sense, it was different. And till this version that you see, it took about 4 years to write. I'm not a genius who writes, it's all good. I have to really go back and rewrite quite a bit, yeah.
But so the idea that there were going to be these two men who we see as two different actors, and sort of we allow the audience to kind of start to wonder what's going on, or I guess kind of go on that curious, confusing, at times maybe journey. At what point did you kind of, was that the idea from the beginning, or you
No, the first draft there was no switch. And then I went to read it with one of my actors, who at the time was we were trying to shoot it in Iran. And that was the most painful table read I've done in my life. It felt like 7 hours. So it was obvious something is not working. And then the idea of the shift came. It was just scary at the beginning because I knew that people were going to be confused. So, but a day after the idea, I was like, okay, this is lovely in a way that it will take probably 30 seconds for audience to say, what happened? And then the demand is now you, as the audience, fight to get back in the film. Because usually we make films that we as a filmmaker, we beg you not to leave. Please don't leave. You want to leave? Here is a little dopamine. Here is a little dopamine, right? I wanted to go against it. So the first half of the film, I give the audience something that is familiar to them. Oh, I know this movie. This is a social realist, drama, family. I know this film. Halfway through, when I pull the rug, I'm like, no, you didn't. Now you want to watch it? You fight back to get in. And that kind of works as a Brechtian moment. Now you've been awakened that, oh, this is a movie I'm watching, and now it's my choice to go back. Now you're thinking.
Yes, and I mean the movie machine of Hollywood is very there's a lot of emphasis on, well, is it clear, and how are people going to respond, and how will they be able to enjoy this if they don't know what's going on? Did you have to work to convince people that audiences might find it, intriguing, fun, exciting, cool, or were you able to just say, I'm making the movie I want to make?
When I was a kid, I'm from a very small town. I'm an indigenous kid from southwest of Iran. Uh, Once a year, my dad would take me to a tailor shop to get me a tailor-made trouser. And then also my shoe is quite big, my feet are big. So he had to make me a tailor-made shoe. Only when I grew older and I left and to bigger cities, I realized that this is not usual. This is only fancy people do it because it was expensive at other places. Now, if you want to get a tailor-made trouser or make your own shoe, it's pretty expensive. But that remains with me. And the same way I look at the film. Some movies are one size fit all. This movie is made for you. It's tailor-made. It's 40 people come in because you are peculiar. You have a broken bone in you, right? Like me. This is my broken bone. Not everybody connects to it. But there are people who love to think. There are people who love to be challenged, to reflect, to participate in the act of making this film. This is for you guys. It's not for everybody. I understand that, but it's for this crowd.
I'm curious about, I feel like when I first started watching it, I was thinking about masculinity, and, there's obviously like several aspects of the film that are touching on that, but it was kind of later on that I started thinking about the women in the film and the roles that they played for Ali and Reza, and just, I would love to hear more about how you thought about these women and how their stories and how they speak affects our main guy or guys.
The film for me is about a guy who thinks he has a solid narrative at hand. He studied in the US, he comes home, he washed dishes, and he thinks he's a feminist. Right? I've done my work, basically. But as soon as female narratives emerges, the cracks in his narrative opens up, and he realizes that, oops, my story maybe is not holding up. And then Reza appears through the cracks, and he tells him, I promise you, I'll keep to your story. I hold your story at all cost. We have to kill, we kill. We have to bribe, we bribe. But female narratives keeps coming. And the film becomes about a man who has to let go of his narrative and build a new one that is more expansive, a new one that is more complex, because the masculine narrative, the narrative in crisis, is a simple one. Let's make America great again. It's too simple. When was it great? For who was it great? If you become a bit more, if you look at it with nuances, you realize that the masculine narrative is too simplistic. And that's why when wife asks Ali, did your mom told you bedside stories? He says, no, she didn't like bedside stories. She liked puzzles. The word puzzle in Turkish is bilmecek, which means that which you do not know. And that's the process of this film. At the end of it, Ali has to learn to hold life in both hands, this mystery that doesn't have all the answers. That's the process of this female narratives who basically make his narrative more expansive.
And it seems that he's speaking about that even without knowing, when he's talking to his students about these two words for translation and the etymology, and it seems like they're so different, and it seems bizarre that that's the origin of these two words that mean the same thing. But yeah, I mean, it's like he has the awareness of the complexities, but he can't integrate them into his own reality or something.
At the beginning, when the student says the roots of the words in Arabic comes from killing, she's wrong. The word does not come from killing. That's why he kind of rejects her. He says, what the fuck does it have to do with our discussion? This is, it's not true. At the end of it, he has learned that he doesn't have to get into an argument with a student now. Let's assume you're right. What can I learn from it? Right? If the translation is the killing. Because now he has learned that to understand the world, you have to let go of something for something new to emerge. Right? You have to kill something for the new to arrive.
I want to talk just a little bit about the production design and the cinematography, because I think, part of what's so fun about this sort of prickly kind of like awareness you start to have when things are changing is that like you said, we know what a social realist drama is. We think we know what film we're in, but there isn't much in terms of like magical realism visually. We feel pretty grounded. There are these gorgeous moments where the camera is moving and pushing in and looking through different doorways that you can feel sort of something related to perspective and different facades that we put up. But I'm curious if you always kind of knew how you wanted it to look and feel, or if that was something you developed with your crew.
Let me bring an example from David Lynch, who I admire quite a lot. And this movie people have said, oh, this looks like his work, and here is, it sounds very arrogant what I'm going to say. So be prepared, all right? Here is how I differ from David Lynch. But David Lynch goes very stylized, So his ask from the audience is this: for half an hour, for 2 hours, you're sitting here. This is a tale I'm going to show you, I go the other way. I'm going to say that this is my life. It doesn't have to be stylized. It doesn't have to look otherworldly. This has to be grounded. I don't show this film to my family because they would recognize themselves immediately. They have been asking, can we watch it? I'm like, no, they can't watch this. Because I want this to feel too close. I don't want this to be, oh, this is a movie, right? And that's why I ask audience sometimes when they ask me who is at the end knocking the door, right? And I always ask them, who do you think comes to knock your door, right? If you think you don't have anybody coming to knock your door, my friend, you have some nightmares on the way. Like, we all have somebody to come. That's why the movie is kind of grounded. And in that sense, Meral, who is a fantastic production designer, works often with Nuri Bilge Ceylan, was an immense help for me. Even in casting, she was like my first person to go to. What do you think? Do you think this works? She would call and say, hey, go talk to this actor or this actress. She was more than a production designer for me, and she's a fantastic artist. On the other hand, I had Bartosz, who comes from Poland, brings with himself this rich affinity for darkness. In Polish cinematographers they love the shadows, and he brought that touch to it. He brought that control to it, and between the three of us, the movie came to be the visual style that it has.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the moment I think he's talking later on and he leans forward, Ali, and it goes out of focus and then it comes back in, and it's really beautiful. The two lead actors who are playing Ali and Reza, what was the process like on, I guess, developing, two sides of the same coin, and how much were they kind of working on prep together versus separately with you?
So from the beginning, we knew that we want the audience to be completely surprised halfway through, to the point of being absolutely disoriented. So day one, we decided that you guys are two different people. Because they wanted to come and, should I watch how Ekin acts? Should I watch how Erkan acts? We said, no. You're just different. You are Reza, this gardener who comes from nowhere. We just lean with that, you know. And when Reza takes over, you know, there was this, Erkan had to do a lot of soul searching to do the transition, because at the beginning he's just this random guy with no past, and suddenly he is interacting with the sister, he's interacting. But luckily, Erkan Costanelli had worked with all the actors, had worked with Selan, had worked with Ekin, had worked with Ercan Kesal. So, and he's a phenomenal actor. So it was very easy for me in that sense to also work with them. Basically, I didn't have to do much, you know, in that sense, really.
Great.
But there was a funny story about how I casted them. I asked them a simple question: did you ever wanted to kill your father? And all of them said, "Of course." I said, "You're in, you're in." One of them said, "No, I wanted to kill my mom." And I said, "You're in too. Come in. This is your movie."
Ali specifically said that he'd love some audience questions. If any of you have anything you'd like to ask, the floor is yours. Kelly?
What would you say was the biggest takeaway for you? Like, what did you learn about yourself through the making of this
Oh
film?
boy.
The question, I'm going to repeat it just for the video, is what did you learn about yourself? What was your biggest takeaway?
That I had a lot of privileges I didn't know I have. I thought I know what my sisters went through. I didn't. And knowing with your head is useless. It's knowing with your heart, with your flesh and with your bones is a different category. You know, you hear about pain. That's different. You know, so it's very hard to look at the mirror and say, hey, you were shitty to your sister for 40 years. It's hard. It's very hard to accept that, because we all think we are good people, you know, and that's a hard truth to face.
Right here?
Can you talk about the role of the dogs?
The role of the dogs. Tell us.
I think one of the ways of us understanding what is humanity for a very long time in history of philosophy has been to look at the animal and say that's a non-human animal and this is a human animal, and how different that is. Through that differentiation, we come to define the human animal. So I thought the presence of animal in that context could give a platform, a mischievous platform for thinking, right? And also he had to let go of all that which makes him human, go back to his animal form to be able to rebuild again and come back. So in that sense, the animal provided that transition opportunity for me. Which this is the first dog to watch the film.
Wow.
Yes, so cute.
Loving it, you can tell.
Actually,
You have a question?
yeah, can you talk about the construction of that, the mirror shot when we first meet Reza?
Construction of the mirror shot when we first meet Reza was the question.
The mirror idea was in the script from the moment we decided to add the switch. The mirror was there. And it's because I speak Farsi, and in Persian classic poetry, mirror is a very established metaphor for the self. For almost 700-800 years, the moment you speak of self, mirror is there in poetry. So I thought that's perfect to use mirror. And Robert Zemeckis in the movie Contact has this impossible, they call it impossible mirror shot. And when I watched it, I was fascinated with the mirror shot. But when I watched the film, I find that have nothing to do with the film. You know, it's very gimmicky. It's a fantastic technical show off. which is absolutely useless. So I thought, here is a piece of gold that Robert said, I don't know what to do with it. Anybody, please use it somewhere. I said, I'll do it. And it was perfect for us because I wanted Reza to appear through the mirror. And then the self-negotiation begins. We go through the entire self-negotiation, and once Ali finally is ready to face the world and let go of his own self, we come out of the mirror. And that's the entire second act kind of lives in that mirror. Thank you.
Other questions? Sir, right there.
I loved the transition, but I was just curious if you've ever had a screening where the audience just couldn't go with you on the transition and just turned against you in the movie.
So far, no. Actually, in Sundance, we premiered there, and I was nervous as fuck. I thought people will walk out, right? And right after transition, somebody stood up and went. I was like, holy moly, this is beginning. I was going down. And then the guy was running, And then like a minute after that, he came back running. I realized he had to go to the bathroom or something. So I was like, whew, we survived. Actually, so far, no. And which give me the confidence that we have this appetite from the audience. Despite the fact that Netflix keeps telling us audience are dumb, they're not. They want a piece, And I love the kind of movie that you watch and you say, it's 6. 6 out of 10, best. 2 months later, you're washing dishes and you're like, 7. Maximum. And then a year later, you're smoking at the balcony, your partner asks you, hey, what's up? I don't know, it's a movie I watched a while ago. That's the kind of movie I love, right? So I don't mind if audience also walk out, but 6 months later they say, I watched half a movie somewhere.
And then this will be the last one here, right here. Yep, you.
Yeah, I have a question. Did you use Turkey as a substitute for Iran, or could you have made the film in Iran?
We could have made the film in Iran with changes, and I didn't want to censor the film. Also, I didn't want to do a movie, quote unquote, underground, right? I'm a cinephile. The mirror shot is equally important as the topic and everything else, right? So I wanted actors, I wanted to be in a calm situation to do something with cinema. It's not just, let's underground shoot 5 days illegally, put it in a cake and send it out, right? I didn't want to do that. So we decided to move it to Turkey, and my tribe speaks a dialect of Turkish. So that gave me an entrance to the language, to the culture, and we went to Turkey to shoot it. But then we completely rewrote the film to fit it for the culture, the language nuances, and all of that. But I did all of that to protect the soul of the film. And I'm very proud to say that the soul is 100% there. We did not compromise on that. Yeah. You've been a fantastic, interviewer, and you guys have been fantastic questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a wonderful film. It is Canada's submission for the Academy Awards. So, tell people to go see it.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you so much.